Hey guys, welcome back. So last time I gave you a quick introduction to classes. I'm going to continue on that now, but what I'm going to do is explain to you what this public means up here in more detail. I briefly went over it last time, but I'll do it in a bit more detail now. So the public word is what's called an access modifier. And what access modifiers do is they say whether you're allowed to use a particular function or variable from outside of that class. So access modifiers, like this keyword, are just in charge of who gets to use what part of this class. For example, if I change this right here to private, okay, so private is an access modifier, just like public is, then I wouldn't be able to use this name variable from outside the class. So for example, if I create my person class, person equals new person, like this, I can't then say person name equals Donkey Kong. That won't work. So I'll even show you now. Refresh the page and you're seeing cannot access private property person. So private is saying that this name variable is only allowed to be accessed from inside the class. Now what does that mean? It means that any code that is inside the class can access this. So this set name variable will still work, because when this set name function accesses the name variable up here, it's doing so within this class, because obviously this function is within this class, so it's okay. That means that if I say set name, and this will be Donkey Kong, like this, it's okay, we'll get no error. Obviously we don't see anything because I'm not outputting anything yet, but we know it's okay. But what if we want to get the value of this then? As this is private, how do we do it? Well, you can create a new function that does that. So I'm going to create another public function. This is going to be get name, like this. And it won't take any parameters, any arguments. Okay, so that's empty. And all this is going to do is return this, because remember this refers to this instance of the class, this name, like this. Now, because we're accessing this from within the class, it's okay. So underneath here, if I then say echo person arrow get name, like this, you should see Donkey Kong on the page, because here we set the name, and when we call this function, this variable here gets the value, Donkey Kong in this case, and then here we're just retrieving this value. So this is okay. So we're using public functions in order to get private properties. Now what's the point in all this? Why do we have public and private access modifiers? Why don't we just have everything public? Well, there are many reasons, but one of them, for example, is maybe to protect against people accidentally changing the value of something. Maybe someone will accidentally change the name of this in their code, and then later on it's going to ruin everything. So that's one reason. Another reason is maybe we don't just want anyone to be able to access this. So if we set this to private, they have to go through a function in order to access it. The benefit of that is this function of ours could do anything like check that that particular user has permission to actually be setting or getting the name. So there's just a couple of reasons, but that's kind of a brief overview of what the private and public keywords do. The same thing, if we had a private function, it means we wouldn't be able to call it like this. If I change this to private, you'll see when I refresh the page, we can't do it because this function is private and we're accessing it from outside the class right now. So this needs to be public.